Happy full moon in Leo, everyone. I find that this video is much requested as we are now entering the new timeline, which is ancient. If you've been my client, if I've initiated you as a priestess, or if you've been following me for 8 years, you know that I have specific codes that come in that are ancient. And I think it's very important that you understand that not everyone will resonate with ancient codes. So when I share something, for example, like legacy partner, it's for those who understand the creators of the third world. We speak about this in membership a lot. So if you haven't joined membership yet and you really want to be supported in priestess energy, or like what I like to call goddess juice, definitely join membership now. But what I would like to talk about is the 3 different timelines that's on planet Earth right now. And I know that 3 different timelines can feel like unrealistic, but at the same time, it's not, because this is prophecy. I want to talk about the first timeline that we've been programmed into, born into, and our DNA and our entire nervous system was very used to. I'm sure you've heard of the human relationships, the charts, or what they're all about. But in 2026, there is a third energy coming in, which is the third world. And again, the third world is very, very limited. Less than 1% of humanity will ever get to even touch this frequency. So, the first world we know people like to call 3D, the Matrix. Planet Earth, the humans, or humanity. Now, you have to understand this is a lineage curse from 7 generations back. And those who are fully awoken into truth and the spiritual path understand that this is about healing, clearing, dying. We don't take anything old with us. We literally kill it off. So the third dimension, this is the dimension that are based out of relationships. But you see, the relationships are all karmic in nature. It's based out of physical karma, emotional karma, mental karma, ancestral karma, and time-bound karma. Now feel into this, because this is the matrix and its programs. This is that relationship, that person, that place, that thing that is very familiar. This is what most people on planet Earth have gone through or are experiencing. They are in 3D relationships, most likely because they haven't awoken and they haven't done their shadow work, they haven't done their integration, and they haven't done any of their detachment. The human connection is based off of the shadow codependency. These type of relationships tend to be highlighted in the media. They are the ones that look like Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt. This is really important to understand because we know that 3D is dying out. Everything inside of this matrix box is dying out. This is really important to understand, but this is also very important to know that not everyone will rise out of this world. Why? Because their soul contract doesn't have their frequency to rise. I'm not going to spend too much time here because a person who understands this knows that this box, this world, is expired. I want to move on to the second world, the second timeline. This is where majority of the spiritual community is currently. The awakened 4D connection. This is really important because this is when the Christ energy comes into your awareness, and it's when you understand the divine feminine and the divine masculine. Now, majority of the spiritual community will be living the rest of their life in this timeline. This is actually major graduations, major accomplishments, because this is actually a huge progress. But you have to understand, in this timeline, you're not allowed to take the 3D, the old timeline, the lower timeline with you. This is where you recreate yourself. This is where the identity shifts happen. This is where the quantum shifts happen. This is when all your spiritual gifts come online, telepathy, understanding all things that are a part of your soul contract. The nervous system, the emotional repair, the somatic trust, the soul integration, and the present time with intimacy. So these are when connections that restore, they're not urgent, they're not karmic, they're regulating, healing, and real. But this is still the awakened path, which is the healing path. Some souls have soul contracts here to be on the healing path for the rest of their existence here. This is when you understand they haven't chosen the ascension path because it might not be in their soul contract. So anybody who has awoken tends to stay in this world. Again, this is actually massive shifts. This is how we actually start creating heaven, new earth, the age of Aquarius, the golden age, whatever word you resonate with. This is prophecy. In 2026, we're just starting to co-create this new reality. Remember, if we're here to heal 7 generations prior, then you know that heaven as a true embodiment is still in the future. So if you're part of the healing community, this would be your timeline. But in this timeline, you will know if your soul contract is asking you to choose the ascension path. Because when you choose the ascension path, this is actually ancient codes. And these ancient codes have very strict laws and principles, but they're still extremely simple. What I teach and what I share to most human beings feel very unrealistic to them. But if you're ancient, if you know that legacy is your embodiment in this life, if you know that your divine counterpart is actually a legacy partner, then the rules are the same everywhere. For example, when I say a simple thing like Instagram is your marketing tool, so your divine counterpart should actually be following no one, 0. The right person, if you go to their account, will have 0 next to their followings. They don't follow anyone because a leader, a true leader who's ready to be in legacy, doesn't follow anyone. It is a clear indication that they have devoted their energy, which is still Instagram, for example, to be open to their legacy partner because they know that their legacy partner is looking at certain things to make sure that they are aligned to this frequency. Because legacy 5D partnership is so ancient that it hasn't been on this planet for probably millions of years. So this is a very low percentage of us that are here. And I do feel like in 2026, a lot of people who are on the awakened path are going to be shown if they're ascending to legacy. Now, if you are that small percentage that are fully embodied and ready for your legacy 5D and up, ancient union, you understand that 7 generations forward is being created, world building union, lineage creation, sacred stewardship, future ancient embodiment, connection that codes the new world. You have to understand, most people can't even tap into this energy. So if you are connecting to it, we all are seeing the same code because the code is actually so simple. It is preparing you for an ancient union that is legacy based, public. This is like the power couple, and fully embodied to co create heaven. Now, think of heaven, think of Eden, think of paradise. It's not a location, it's a consciousness. That's why I use these images to really set the tone to what I am speaking of. People say there's 2 timelines on planet Earth. That is completely false. There's always been 3. That's why we have the Vekata Pisces, or people call it the Holy Trilogy. There's always been 3 timelines. But the highest timeline, which is ancient, it is so quiet, most people can't even tap into it. Because remember, everything's energy. So it's not personal, it's vibrational. And someone like myself who is ancient hears the golden frequency, the highest. That's why I'm very clear, I'm very consistent, and I activate those who are ready to become. Is it for everyone? Of course not. Because being in the second timeline, which everybody thinks is actually 5D, is where majority of the spiritual people are moving into. But it's not the highest embodiment. It's like saying the heart is the highest dimensional frequency you can embody. That's wrong. It's like when people say love is the highest vibration on planet Earth. That's wrong. So in 2026, there is a right and wrong, and the ancient ones are going to show it to you. Now, if you disagree, that's because it's not personal, it's vibrational. We know where you're at. But heaven is here. Legacy is here. And those who are ready to fully become, right, these power couples that are here to shift the worlds. Because we're here to shift all 3 worlds. We're not ignorant. We're not avoidant. We're not in service to self. But those who are in the legacy 5D and up, you'll understand when I say to you, you don't date, you're celibate, you're focused on creating your empire. And the biggest thing here for mostly men to hear is that men who build empires based off of the old paradigm are actually the uninitiated. Because one must be initiated as a man to enter legacy because it is the goddess that's ruling that world. So the truth is, any man or a divine masculine who's entering his kingship understands that his true legacy is his goddess. She will be above him, he will be underneath her, and together again is a holy trilogy because she's working under creator. Everything comes in 3. But honestly, to the ladies, if you are ready to embody these legacy 5D and up ancient union codes, you have to understand this man, this king, has to be fully integrated in understanding that his goddess, which is you, is his legacy, not his father, not his society, not his empire that he thinks he's building. No, it has to be you. And when the goddess initiates him, he now is entering heaven, and together they work as a holy trilogy to co-create this reality. It's beautiful, it's simple, and it's ancient as fuck. And I know, again, it's a very small percentage of embodied souls right now walking, but this is amazing because when I was teaching this, like even 5 years ago, most people didn't understand it. And now more and more all over the world are saying, yep, that's it. Because we're not making this up. When you're anchored and connected to the ancient truth, you're getting the same code because we're getting it from our creator. Not God, because there's many gods, not goddess, because there's many goddesses, but from creator itself. Okay? So I hope that you enjoyed this and I hope it helped. And blessed February.